Anguilla World Cup qualifying comes to an end with El Salvador getting an important 3-0 win with goals by Santos Ortiz, Brian Gil, and Elvin Alvarado, giving El Salvador a huge boost on making it to the third round in the qualifying stage. Anguilla have lost their last 6 matches coming to this game, not scoring in their last 2. Anguilla, who are already out of the qualification stage, start with 2 teenagers in the lineup with 15-year-old Tijari Francisca and 17-year-old Nathaniel Owen. In net for laselecta, Alianza's goalkeeper Mario Gonzalez with also Alexander Lauren at left back, Jorge Cruz pairing up with Julio Cebran with Damacas finishing their defense. Captain Brian Landaverde leads the midfield with Melvin Cortegana and MLS LAFC's young prospect Nathan Ordaz starting in the attacking position with the front 3 of Jorge Ortiz, Brian Gil, and Dario Enriquez. Game 3 of the Concacaf World Cup qualification with Group F leader Suriname beating Puerto Rico yesterday, making today's win for El Salvador, placing them second place with a 3-point advantage, meaning a tie against the group leaders or Puerto Rico dropping points will solidify qualification to the next round for El Salvador. El Salvador were coming in with chances left and right, holding majority of possession in the first half, with Anguilla defending well, but a goal in the 30th minute by Ortiz finally getting a goal past the goalie, with everyone jumping around trying to reach for the ball. Minutes before the halftime, a goal by Brian Gil, his 4th for El Salvador with his 12th cap for the nation in his World Cup qualification debut, puts them 2-0 before the half. 76th minute goal by Edwin Alvarado finishes the match 3-0 and puts them second place in Group F. It's such an important game for El Salvador, but rankings were huge different. El Salvador was ranked 86 in the world rankings, and Anguilla was just nowhere near that. And of course, El Salvador performed miles better than Anguilla. They had no shot on target. They had almost no possession. I think El Salvador had 86 possession in the whole entire match. In the first half, they basically had the ball for an entire time. For me, they're defending a little bit, better. I mean, it's kind of hard when you have your entire back line back there. But for me, as far ranking as they are, they performed honestly pretty good against El Salvador. Here, if you see in the bracket, this win does put them second place, with Puerto Rico going third place. The next game that's gonna happen soon, it determines whether El Salvador will make it to the next round of the qualification stage. Suriname beating Puerto Rico was huge yesterday. That just really helped El Salvador. If they get this win today, they're comfortably in second for now, or all depending what's going on next game. But this win was just major. You needed Puerto Rico to lose, needed El Salvador to win, and got the result. I wanted El Salvador to score more because the whole goal differential with Puerto Rico and Salvador are different. I think El Salvador needed to score like 2 more goals just to tie it up with them. Yeah, because they have a 5-goal difference, 7. But yeah, this match, they had 40 shots on target. I think, or 40 shots in total, 14 on target. I always forget the name. The Anguilla, the goalkeeper, he did his job, and El Salvador, had so many chances they could have created, especially in the first half, but they weren't able to. But here we'll just head into the match here with a 3-0 win. Goals by Ordaz, Brian Gil, and Alvarado. Here you see 86%, 41 shots on target, 41 shots in total, 14 targets, 7 big chances created. Let's check all stats here. 14 corners. It was everything is gonna be blue. Obviously, there's a whole difference of the rankings and how miles better they are than. Similar to today with Honduras, they're reversing against I forgot what team, but they had more possession, they had more shots on target, but Honduras I think scored in the 86th minute. So Santos Ortiz was probably their best player today. He only played not even 70 minutes into the field. Really wanted to see Nathan Ordaz score. He's really much appreciated, I guess, in the whole community because. He didn't have to choose El Salvador. He could have chosen another nation to represent. I think it was the U.S. or Mexico. But, we need, El Salvador needs to, they have so much talent in the States. But, people are unhappy with the Gold Cup call-ups, saying most of them are just, players from the Salvadorian League. And, of course, you want to mix in, with that culture. But I say also bring in players that are in the States, that are in Europe. Because there are players that are, not just in the league itself. So, it's good to, have mix around and try to get as much talent as you can because it's 100% talent. and they just need to grow. In the next couple of years, I can 100% see them, performing miles better than they are in recent years. And they had glimpses, and they've showed. I'll never forget that USA game in the Gold Cup a few years back, and that Mexico game. They have their situations where they could have. So we'll see what happens with going in the next couple of years. And Gold Cup is gonna be confusing. And Nathan Ordez is not going to be playing. He's going to be playing the Club World Cup with LAFC, so that's going to be a huge, upside, or not upside, a huge negative for the team. And I was reading a lot of fans are unhappy with the call-ups, saying that a lot of players are missing, a lot of players that should be in the team. But we will see. We'll see what happens with that. But here we're gonna head to their next game. They're gonna play. Haiti's playing right now. Let me check the Honduras real quick. Yeah, they scored an 8, and it was an own goal as well. So that does not help them at any case of how their performance are. How do I get to their next game? Just get here. Here, this game is Suriname. It's gonna be huge. Suriname have big name players that are playing. Not big name. Don't get me wrong, but they have players that are playing in Europe, that are playing in top teams. So of course it's gonna be a huge negative for El Salvador. That at least they gotta get a tie and hope that Puerto Rico lose to I forget the reversing honestly. But here, let's take a look at the Suriname's team. You have the coach from the Netherlands was probably a huge upside with bringing in talent, trying to convince them to represent this country instead. Then you have I said a goalkeeper who's worth $1 million. He's worth $1 million playing in Suriname, so he's playing in the Eredivisie. You have Fernie who's playing in Middlesbrough down in England. So you see all these teams. They're European teams. Venezia, Royal Antwerp, Real Sociedad. There's top teams, top teams, and you're going against the likes of El Salvador, who are playing players majority in the Salvadorian league. It's not gonna really help out El Salvador in that case. But we'll see what happens. Their win record, they went back to Canada and lost with that. But of course, it's Canada. Playing. You have players that are playing in Europe and states and whatever. But this game right here determines they go to the next round. Take up Puerto Rico aside, you can't really rely on. What I realized even the NFL last season, you can't always rely on another team to help you progress to the next round. You're in the position that you are because it's you. You can't rely on others. So Salvador really need a tie somehow if they get a win. Who knows what will happen? But they're going to play at home. I believe so. So yeah, well, we'll see what happens with this match. Just a quick little video. I don't really go much about the whole Concacaf Salvador region. Trying to get into it. Same with MLS. Same with North American football, South American Concacaf, all that. So hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, we will see you guys next time.